Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's line 1. Line 2, let's just do over here, and actually, just for sake of simplicity, we'll make it the same shape. 3 is going to be from here to here. 4 is going to be from here to here. 5 is going to be from here to here. Okay, so let's maximize this in this viewport. And let's get rid of the grid because we don't necessarily need it at this point. We can turn that off. And let's make sure somehow this is off right here. So let's go in and do edge select and grab this, turn snapping on, and hopefully I can get this to snap to right there. Okay. So now that's clean because you have to make sure that everything snaps onto everything else. So at this point we can turn snapping off again. So I can connect everything. I'll just do attach multi, and I can grab everything else and combine all these. And then at this point I can come in and I can start to do some tweaking. So the most basic tweaking I'm going to do is just grab these and pull them down. And I think that's enough to kind of show you what you can kind of do with the shape. So now I'm ready to add the surface modifier. And right there. And flip the normal. And there you go. Now you see we've created this surface. And the cool thing is we can add elements to this at any time if we wanted to. So if I go back to the top view, and let's actually go in and turn snapping on again and do create and shape and line, and we'll go from here to here to here, and left mouse button, so that's all line. And then in the side view, we will go from this point that one. Okay, so now I need to take this shape right here and that element and make sure that I snap it. Let's make sure I got to vertex, and now let's take it down, and there we go. Okay, so now that's snapped on. Now if I go in and select this back and go back to line and do attach multi and add these two more and attach, now you'll see that we actually have the whole object created. And if we flip it again, now you can see that I have something that would be the equivalent to, let's say, a boat hull. This is only a 2D shape at this time that it's represented. Let me pull up the edge face so you can kind of see what's happening. So if I add the shell modifier, which is a handy one to have, it instantly gives it thickness. So you can see that I can increase it. And that's just a handy way to kind of create kind of a rather complicated shape pretty quickly. And that's kind of the basic process for that. Now that's called surfacing in this program, and what it does is you have to take multiple intersecting lines that are snapped onto each other, make sure all the vertices are on top of each other, and then have shapes that are either 3 or 4-sided, and then surface it. So the final thing I'll show you is what we can do with the sub D. So let me just reset. Yes, and the sub D, the easiest way to show is just to start with the box. And I'll show you 2 boxes. There's one box. Let's get rid of the grid again. And let's copy this out. Down shift key. Okay, and also you see I still get snapping because I have the vertex. So I'll disable that, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Let's just maximize this viewport so we can see what's going on. Okay, so the one box, I'm going to increase the number of segments to 3 in each direction. And I'm going to turn on edge face so you can see what's going on. So there's different types of subdivision modifiers you can add. The one that I use is HSDS. I feel like you have the most control with that one. And it's most similar to what you would find in other programs. So in order to do it, the instant we're doing this, the first thing we're seeing is what's called smoothing. It's trying to round out the edges, but since this is a box, it's not quite working. So we want to select the whole object, and we want to subdivide it, and you see the instant we do that, all of a sudden it takes it and subdivides it into numerous levels. And if I do that again, it goes down even further, and then etc. And you can see I can keep on going down. Now if I want to edit this, I can grab something at this level and adjust it. If I want to go up to a slightly higher level and have more control, I can come up here and I can kind of play around and see if I can do adjustments. So you can see all of a sudden it's not wonderful, but I can do a basic face. And then we can keep on stepping up and ratcheting up more levels and have more control, so you can start to get some different kind of looks and results and play around. You can see you can do a bunch of things. And then if I get all the ways down to the base level, now I'm actually doing the original shape that created the whole thing in the first place. So this is really powerful, and unlike NURBS, which fall apart and have levels, you don't have a level of control. So you can always go up and down at any time and adjust and get different results. And this is a really powerful tool, and it's commonly used for most character models nowadays to create pretty organic looking shapes. So let me get rid of this one, and let's look at this one that has some more subdivisions. So unlike the first one, which instantly became a sphere, if I hit this one, you see a slightly different look, hit the whole thing, subdivide, and now you see that this is much more broken up. It has softer edges, and they're not as big, and we do that again, and we do it again, and all of a sudden we have something that can look like a seat cushion. I'm going to take this and decrease the depth a little so it gets a little flatter. Now we want to figure out how can we start to make this look more realistic. Now if I go in and I select a single vertex and move it, that's going to be really tricky to work on. However, there's a thing called use soft selection. If I do that, you'll see that there's actually a color radius, and if I increase and decrease the fall off, I can select more and more of the surface. So the closer you are to center, the more the influence. And if I go and I slowly push this down and I start to move around and do that at different places and get it, you can use this as a way to start to just gradually deform the shape and get some different results, and so it doesn't look as organic and predictable as you might see. So you can spend some time kind of aging and tweaking and working around with things. So that's using soft selection. And you can use that at any level, so you can move up or down the level depending on what you want to do, edit as needed. Now one option is we did both of these with a box, so let's see what happens if we do this with a plane. So I'll create a basic plane, and I'll draw this out in the front view. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to keep the plane as is. I'm going to add an HSDS modifier to it. And before I do anything else, actually let's delete that for the second. Let's just modify the plane. So I'm going to add an edit poly modifier to this. And I'm going to take these vertices and hold down Control key and those. And I'm going to move these up. And also if I wanted to kind of change how this looks, and so you can see actually what's happening, I can go in and I can clear all the smoothing. And now if I look at this, it's actually flat. So let me just render it so you can see, so it's flat. Now if I come back to this and now I add an HSDS modifier to it, it smooths it again. So now if I render it out, you see that it's gone. I can only see the edges. And if I come in, I go to subdivide this. I go to subdivide it again and subdivide it again. All of a sudden I have something that potentially could look like I could use for something like curtains. Now the big problem that happens with this is you see it rounds out the edges. So if we go back up to the different levels and we edit, you really can't do anything at this level. If I go to the next level, I can come in and you'll see what it is it's this edge right here that's getting pushed away. So I can go and push that up, and you need to do this with all the edges, and do that, and then go up to the next level and grab this. And there are other controls that you can use. This is kind of just the more intuitive way, the simpler way to understand kind of how to do this. And then pull that back, and voila, so now we have a straight edge. So you can see how that's going to start to help you a bit. And we already talked about soft selection, where you could use that as a way to start to move different elements around. So that's it. And basically your homework is to explore different ways to utilize these new techniques.